Today's video is part of the Here's Your Crown Challenge, where women are supporting other women. I'll tell you more about that later. This inspiration piece was actually Valentine Decor using Dollar Tree items like these and some scrapbook paper. This I picked up at Hobby Lobby. And, you know, hearts and flowers are good for all year long, are they not? But what I'm going to do is, after I finish duping the original, I'm going to show you how you could make this into Easter decor. I'm using one of these shadow box banks from Dollar Tree. This one happens to say treat fun, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to show. What I'm doing is just taking out the backing and the little picture that was inside. But the glass I'm going to leave right where it is, because the only way I could see to get it out of there was to break it. So I'm using ballet slipper, Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to cover everything that's sparkly gold on this frame. And then I'm painting a Dollar Tree glass candlestick with that color. And I knew better. I'm supposed to put down Mod Podge so I don't have to do so many coats on glass, but I get the hang of it later. Now I'm painting one of those wood hearts from Dollar Tree. All three of these pieces are getting a coat of ballet slipper. The candlestick, however, had to have 2 coats. Now for the paper that I'm using in the back, I'm going to cut it to the size of the little cardboard piece that came out of the shadow box bank. And I'm going to use a glue stick to stick that down because the cardboard and the paper itself is both so thin. I thought it would just work better than a glob of Mod Podge. So I'm trying to make sure I get it all covered. And then I'm going to line that paper up right on top of that. And something that I can tell you now that I should have done, I end up having to cut this down a little bit to make it drop down into the shadow box. Now I'm going to glue the back on, just adding some dabs of hot glue onto the back, which was originally the front, mind you. This is how that's looking. Make sure you've got that bank slot at the bottom. Otherwise, it'll be showing for everyone to see. Now, working on that heart, the original piece had lace ribbon with some little pearls in it. I don't have that, but I do have this pearl trim on a roll from Dollar Tree. I'm going to put a piece of that across the top. I'm not going to glue it around to the back because I think it would just put too much thickness on the heart and it wouldn't stick well. And the original had 3 small felt roses. I've only got this size, so I just chose the dark pink to glue on there. Put a generous amount of hot glue on back, drop that heart down into the shadow box. And then I glued it on top of the glass candle holder. It actually helped to have that little slot on the bottom to get me to line it up straight. So there's the original, and here's my version. And to my best friend Becky from Simply Becky DIY, here's your crown. Here's Your Crown is hosted by Connie from Connie's Creative Creations and Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun. We take someone who inspires us and recreate one of their DIYs. Links to both their channels and this playlist are below, along with a link to Becky's channel. Now for DIY number 2, I'm going to flip the original into Easter decor. I'm going to use this silver glittered shadow box bank, and for the candle stand I'm going to use the Waverly chalk paint in silver lining. But yes, I remembered to Mod Podge a layer on first, And it doesn't take a lot, just that little bit went all over the entire surface of this candlestick. And while that's drying, I'm going to work on the frame part. I'm going to be using this cute pastel patterned Easter eggs from Hobby Lobby for the backing. And same thing as before, I'm just using a glue stick on the paper that came out that was the original picture. I stuck that down. And now to put it all together, I flip that upside down. Push that backing into place, and I don't need glue for that because it fits so tight. And then hot glue on the four corners there. Stick the backing on. And now I'm going to work on these little chicks. I'm using wood glue to join all 8 of them together that was in the pack. And it doesn't take a lot. I made a mistake and squeezed out way too much for the first one. But yeah, I'm just layering it, making a chicken sandwich with some wood glue. And of course that last one doesn't need any glue on it. And I tried to make sure they were lined up as best as I could get them, and then I put some clamps on the chicks and set them aside to dry. And cleaned off the excess around the edges. Once dry, I come in with this beautiful color folk art paint. And I just got a tiny bit out of the bottle and mixed it with a little bit of water. That's going to make more of a stain color. It's going to be less opaque, and I can still see the wood grain of the chick through that. I covered the entire front side of that chick stack and then set it aside to dry. And even though I'd put some spackle in that hole on top of the chick's head, it still showed up. I didn't like it, so I'd made a little bow with some Dollar Tree ribbon. And I'm going to glue it right over that hole so it looks like she's got a little ponytail on top of her head. And then I'm going to take some of these tiny tea roses from Dollar Tree and stick 3 of them in a line like she's got a little flower necklace on. And instead of gluing this in the middle of the frame like I did before, I'm going to glue it down to the bottom, kind of cover up that coin slot. And I glued it on top of the candlestick. And the very last thing that I do is add a little bit more of that ribbon around the top of the candlestick, tied in a bow. And there's my Easter version of the Valentine version from my friend Becky. I love both of them. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a thumbs up. And please check out the host channel as well as Becky's channel. Until next time, bye-bye.